We'd like to reconvene our regular board meeting. At this time, if you could all please stand for the pledges in a moment of silence. We have Atascocita High School Marines Junior ROTC presenting the colors. Mr. Rushing, if you'll lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Order. Ready. Good. Ready. Close. Order. March.
All right, you may be seated. All right, Dr. Sconzo, do we have commendations and recognitions tonight?
We actually do have some very special presentations to be made to the board this evening, but we'll start as we have every board meeting, and that's with our inspiring moment. And tonight's inspiring moment takes a look at November 13th, which is the day that our Education Foundation Special Prize Posse hit the road to award the $100,000 we received from HEB for being the best large district in Texas, 2015. And I think the inspiring moment broadly really demonstrates and shows how important and what an important difference our Education Foundation makes for the children we serve. So Jamie, if you would roll the tape.
Well, there's nothing more fun than giving away money. Maybe the only thing better is seeing it put to good use. And I think what's really gratifying today is to see how excited these teachers are about seeing their dreams come true and the ideas they have to further education and see their students do well. And so at HEB, we're excited that not only were we able to give $100,000 to Humble ISD, but to see that money be put to good use and see students achieve more because of it.
Well, I've been on the foundation board for a very long time, so I've been involved with the foundation for over 11 years, and really, Prize Posse Day, the grants are why we do what we do. Truly, teachers give of their time, their talent, but unfortunately a lot of them give of their treasures, their money. So what a wonderful opportunity for them to turn to really their family, our Humble ISD family, the Education Foundation. We raise the money, but they can come to us and actually, by means of our grant process, and apply for those fundings for those particular projects that they have.
When you see kids of a young age using iPads at home and that transfers to the school experience, it's just amazing to see what we're able to bring in with iPads and the microphones and the overheads and the different types of technology impacting the classroom is really helping the students. And we've been able to, with the innovative grants, add to those components so that then eventually, as I mentioned before, the school districts end up funding a lot of those across the board.
With the Humble Education Innovation Grants, I applied. It's called Sliding into Summer, Sliding into Learning. The summer reading program happened because many of our students weren't eligible for our summer learning programs, our Jump Start programs. So it's a way to reach over half our students. This year, 300 to 400 students will be going home with summer bags with reading books, reading, math, handwriting, spelling, workbooks. They'll be going home with science experiments and fun Greg Tang stuff to do.
We had a lot of our special ed kids getting in trouble for different types of behaviors. We have a lot of kids with autism, ADHD, things like that, where they can't physically sit still. Even kids without disabilities, it's hard for them to sit still. How can we get them to stay in the classroom and make learning more effective? So it started out with yoga balls, then we've evolved to getting light filters because fluorescent lights are hard. We have noise reducing headphones, we've got fidget toys. We have all sorts of different interventions that are available to kids to keep them in the classroom and to maximize their learning.
2 years ago, I wrote a grant for visual timers, and they're called time timers. And these timers are more than just a typical timer because they give the kiddos a visual perception of time, and time is really abstract. But it just helps create independence, and they soon learn to transition, and they don't argue when it's time to get off the iPad or the computer.
And every year it's just so much fun to see teachers who in general are underappreciated and underpaid receive a remuneration, pay for the good work that they do. You know, the future of our state really is going to be based on our students being able to learn more and do more. And so that's why we're so committed to public education.
Well, the foundation does lots of things throughout the year to raise money. Mainly we have 3 large events. We have our golf tournament in the fall, and then we have our Humble ISD rodeo and our barbecue cook-off that takes place usually end of January, beginning of February. And then usually in April, we have a big gala. So those are our 3 big events on how we bring in money.
Those volunteers work so hard to make those events successful so that we can raise those funds, and those go directly to our students and to our teachers every spring when we do our prize posse in May.
Yeah, actually, we're very blessed in the community that we live in. I believe the last number I heard is we are one of the top 13 foundations in the state of Texas, which is a pretty big state. And most people think of, Houston, Dallas, Austin, those areas, and here we are, Humboldt, Kingwood, the Atascocita community. But I think that just speaks to the work that we do and the impact we make in the classroom, which ultimately, spills over to our children.
And I hope the people that donate to the Humble Education Foundation realize how much they help kids. We're impacting 400 and 450 kids, and that's through their generous donations and all the hard work they do. And you don't realize how much those little things add up to impact student learning and what special things we can do for our school.
I want to again thank HEB for their generosity and the recognition that they provided to our district, and really especially thank Scott McClellan, who took the better part of a full day out of his schedule to be with us visiting all of the campuses we visited on the 13th. And I will share with all of you parenthetically that poor Scott, just about every kid immediately recognized who he was. But very quickly asked the question, where's JJ? So Scott had to deal with that all day. Mr. Sitton, I'm going to turn to you to introduce this month's Stellar Standouts.
All right, so our Stellar Standouts this month feature accomplishments in theater, choir, and band at our middle and high schools. You can see them as they scroll up here on the screen. But this also includes the first in over a decade at Humble High School to make the All-State Orchestra. So glad to see that program's back on track. It's also exciting to share our students' work across the district in service learning projects, including Kingwood Park They took approximately 500 students on 18 buses all over Houston to perform community service during their annual day of service. We have many athletic accomplishments. 25 student athletes have signed to play on in college. Several schools made the playoffs in various sports. Recently, Atascocita High School made it to the regional finals in football. Not to belittle any of the other accomplishments, and I'm off script, by the way, if you didn't notice already. But it's just really neat to see what happened, and so y'all bear with me. I've got to say this. When you grow, when you've seen it go from one school to two schools to 6 high schools, you lose that sense of community sometimes. And this past week, what was so neat in the communities that make up Atascocita, all of the feeder schools, the elementary schools and the middle schools had Red Out Day for Atascocita High School. The elementary schools made banners and so forth, and the community showed up huge on Saturday morning for their big send-off, and all the elementary kids had their banners out there and all that good stuff. And I just sat there and looked at that, and I thought back to the days of Mike Mosley and that group back in 1977 when there were signs up and down 59 between here and Huntsville. And, it really gave me a lot of pride to see that even though we've grown, we still have that small field atmosphere. So I know everybody's looking at me up here like, is he going to shut up anytime soon? But felt like I needed to add that to it. So Stellar Standouts is a way to recognize our students on a monthly basis and are archived on the district homepage for this month as well as all previous months. So you can see them here, and then you can see them on our website going forward. All right.
Mr. Sitton and trustees, we have 4 presentations to make this evening. So let me, Mr. Sitton, introduce them now, and then I'll ask you to join me out front. But first, we'll have Jerry Monbaron come to the podium, and she will introduce this month's super staffers. She's going to be followed by Scott Brady and representatives of the American Heart Association to make a presentation to the board. Jerry will then come back to the podium, and on behalf of the foundation, she will be making a presentation on our employee campaign this year. And then finally, I'll ask Melissa Kreiser to come to the podium, and Melissa has some really good friends from Centerpoint Energy with us tonight to make a presentation to the board. So, Mr. Sitton, if you will join me out front.
So just as a reminder, each month campuses and departments select an individual to be honored as a super staffer for their outstanding work in advancing student achievement. A drawing is held and 3 honorees receive additional recognition at a school board meeting, including a $200 gift card to Papa's Restaurants, thanks to an award sponsor. The sponsor for this month's Super Staffer Awards is Unify Energy Solutions. Now I'd like to invite Todd Searcy and Donnie McCorkadell to come up and join me in passing out these awards. Thank you. So our first person that we're going to honor is the elementary super staffer, and that is Rainia Mickles from Oak Forest Elementary. Assistant Principal Lori Task is going to come and join her, and then if she has her children, come on, you can come on up here with her too. Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about Rainia. When they nominated her, they said Rainia has helped 23 families celebrate Thanksgiving with food this year. She coordinated the donations, the drop-off, and picked up these complete meals. She has put together guidance groups and grief groups in the past month to help more students in need by forming effective relationships. So she also worked with the Oak Forest Student Council to recognize our custodians, bus drivers, and cafeteria workers on November 18th, the full breakfast. Rainia has also developed Backpack Buddies, a program that ensures our students have food to eat over the weekend. She has some proud children here tonight. Okay, you want to go up there and get a picture with her? as the secondary super staff for tonight is Samantha Meinsinger. Samantha? Samantha's principal, Tammy Alexander, is going to join her. And Samantha is a DAP social studies teacher. And this is what they said about Miss Meisinger's classroom. Miss Meisinger's classroom is one of intrigue and exploration. She makes social studies fun and exciting for students while challenging them to stretch their learning. Miss Meisinger encourages her students to work together to explore cultures, societies, and lands far away. And then being honored as the support staff member tonight is Chrissy Scheidler, the facilities rentals clerk. And Chrissy's supervisors Leanne Montgomery and Kenny Kendrick will be joining her. And this is what they wrote about Chrissy. Chrissy is a pleasant person to work with and always has a smile on her face. She coordinates all of our department celebrations and works well with all. She does a super fantastic job scheduling and coordinating custodial staff, administrators, and air conditioning for our entire district renters. For this and many other reasons, we nominate Chrissy for our super staffer as she is closing the gap towards excellence.
Thank you, Mr. President, Dr. Sconzo, and members of the board. I guess it was a little over a year ago, Keith asked me if I would chair the Heart Walk for the Lake Houston area. And I wasn't really following his footsteps. I think he did it for a couple of years. And I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. But one of the first things I had to do was put together an executive leadership team. And I just can't thank this group enough. And most of them couldn't be here tonight. But a couple of them are, and so I wanted to just call their names out and recognize them because they're folks that you see in the community. You saw a couple of them on the video, and so just want you to just kind of recognize them and see what all they do and the involvement they are in the community. Carrie Brinston, Charles Cunningham, Charlie Dromgoole, Jen Sitton, Katie Sager, Melinda Stevenson, my lovely sister, Miss E. Williams, and Monica Zubia. And I also want to thank Monica and Community Credit for allowing us to use their conference room throughout the entire process. And we met about every 3 months throughout the year to gather teams together. And if you haven't heard the number that was raised, I'll share it with you. This year's total was, our goal was $150,000, and with everyone's efforts, $178,000 was raised. A lot of folks came together, worked hard, whether it was a $10 donation from a neighbor, $25 from another friend or coworker, church, the Methodist Church in Humble gave a couple $100. Or was it the big teams that, or also the big teams that came together? And 3 of those teams that have worked the last 3 years for sure is Kingwood Medical, and they raised $19,000. Memorial Hermann raised $48,000. And then Humble ISD, who exceeded everyone's expectations, raised a record-breaking, I'm going to borrow Jamie's words, goal-shattering $52,400. So when all the cash donations were collected and accounted for, Humble ISD finished as the top company in the 2016 Greater Lake Houston Heart Walk. Along with that, they are also the top school district Heart Walk team in Texas. And Humble ISD has earned this honor for 3 years in a row, so we're very proud of them. The level of success does not happen without the participation and support of everyone in the Humble ISD family. Administrators, teachers, parents, students, and all of those who get involved to make this happen. And weather did not cooperate on the morning of November 7th, but that did not deter the spirit and the fun and the excitement that everyone had on that day. So I can't thank everyone enough for all the hard work that was put into this. And I just want to recognize a few folks that are here with us from the American Heart Association. I'm going to let Abby Ainsworth, who was our kind of my right-hand person throughout all this and really led me and guided me through it. And so, Abby, you want to come up?
Scott, I just want to take the chance just to thank ISD for their involvement this year. Holly and Amanda are my other 2 coworkers, and they were really worked alongside the school district as I worked along with the companies and the hospitals for the Heart Walk. But we are so thankful for y'all's involvement. I saw Dr. Sconzo and myself both give Keith a look that Memorial Hermann was knocked down to number 2 by Humble ISD this year. So I know the pressure's on next year, but y'all, we're so thankful for y'all and being the #1 fundraising district in Texas. So y'all are amazing, and so just thankful for your time, your resources, being involved as team captains, being donors to the Heart Walk, and just coming and supporting us. So y'all are an amazing community, and we are so incredibly thankful for y'all. So thank you.
Thank you, Abby. And they just do a fabulous job, and it's been such a pleasure to work with Abby and all of her team. And so just make it such a pleasure for everyone involved. With the money that was raised, and I just want you to know, over $9 million has been raised in the Houston area this past year alone through the American Heart Association. And that money goes to research and education and prevention and getting the word out about heart disease and stroke. Let's not forget stroke, it's right up there with heart disease. And so probably some of y'all might have family members that are affected by this, and so hopefully you can make an impact on their lives and really the lives of our children and grandchildren. So I want to turn it over to Jamie, who has some further recognition of the folks in Humble ISD. Jamie?
So tonight we want to provide special recognition to schools that earned awards through the Greater Lake Houston Heart Walk. You all will unfurl the banner and join Mr. Sinton and Dr. Sconzo up there holding it. So we're going to call out the names of the schools that won awards, and there's representatives here from each school, and if they will come forward when you hear your school name and join them up here. We'll hold applause until everybody has come forward, and then we'll recognize everybody as a group, and we'll take a publicity photo. So let's see. In the elementary school division, the top participating elementary school was Deerwood Elementary, represented here tonight by Principal Carla Threadgill. The top fundraising elementary school was Whispering Pines Elementary School, represented tonight by Principal Pat Natzik. In the middle school division, the top participating middle school was Timberwood, represented tonight by Principal Kenneth Buck. And the top fundraising middle school is a co-award. Kingwood Middle School received the award for donations submitted by the day of the event. And so Kingwood Middle School's team captain is here tonight, Counselor Crystal McElrath. And there's a second process after all the donations were fully collected and accounted. Creekwood Middle School turned in $682 more, so they are also being recognized. Creekwood Middle School is represented by Assistant Principal Danielle Taylor. Creekwood's Heart Walk team captain. Moving on to the high school division. The top participating high school was Quest, and joining us from Quest are academic lead teacher Kim Mauser and And the top fundraising high school was the Atascocita High School, represented by Principal Bill Daniels. And the top specialty campus is the James D. Eggers ISD. Elementary PE facilitator Helen Wagner led the ISC as team captain, and she has done a really amazing job helping to honor the legacy of former school board member Jim Eggers by creating the ISC Heart Walk Team Eggers. So every donation and every walker made a difference. We'll now take a photo of the official winners, but truly everyone in Humble ISD is a winner because we shared this community-wide effort.
I would like to introduce now Jen Sitton, representing the Humble ISD Education Foundation Board as the Vice Chair.
So just bear with me real quickly. I found out I was doing this yesterday afternoon late, so let me read off of this. So school board trustees, Dr. Sconzo, and guests, on behalf of the board members and staff of the Humble ISD Education Foundation, I am honored to come before you tonight with some awesome news. Each year, the foundation goes to Humble ISD employees and asks for their support. We are honored that you, the Humble ISD employees, want to join us in this important work. So why do we do this? Two awesome reasons why we do this. When we meet with local businesses and private foundations, we are often asked, does Humble ISD staff support the foundation? We tell them that our incredible, awesome employees support the foundation by applying for grants, attending our special events, and donating directly to our organization. The second reason we ask employees for support is that when our board members give to the foundation, they know they are part of something bigger. We are impacting our future today by giving students a high-quality education experience. We have learned the value in inviting others to experience this feeling, and the Humble ISD employees have demonstrated they agree as well. In the 14 years that we have had an employee campaign, the amount pledged to the foundation from Humble ISD has grown each year. This year is no different. So we are thrilled to announce Humble ISD has pledged to the foundation, and I'm going to use Jamie's words, Go full shattering. 344,795 this year. This is an 11% increase from last year. The Foundation Board believes this continued support comes from a couple different reasons. The validation of the Foundation's work and need for us to continue to grow our impact in the classroom of Humble ISD. But we also recognize that it is indicative of their support of you, the Board of Trustees, and Dr. Sconzo, leading our school district. They believe in your vision for our students, and they too want to join in that mission. So thank you to each and every one of our employee donors. Without you, the level of impact the Foundation has in our district would not be possible. So I'm gonna real quickly, just bear with me, I'm going off script, taking the lead from my awesome husband. The employee campaign is a great undertaking for our staff and community development and the Education Foundation staff. So, on behalf of our board, Scott Brady is here, and then one of our other board members, Todd Cersey, is here. I would like to thank Jerry, Christy, Kiana, and then our few staff members that are not here, Ashley, Vanessa, and Adrian. Without them, this campaign and this large check would not be possible without your hard work and dedication. So please indulge me and just give them a round of applause for me. Okay, so we would now like to take a few pictures. Would Angela Conrad please join us? She is the school board liaison to the foundation. Todd, you're still in the audience. You're going to come on up as a foundation board member. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to recognize a few schools that really outperformed all the other schools in their category.
Jerry, I don't know why she was nervous to get up there and present, because she never has any problems telling me what to do.
Commentary's allowed to go. Okay, so when I called these schools, principals, please come up. But if you have other staff with you, your representatives, your assistant principals, please join us up in the pictures. So for elementary, we would like to recognize with 100% participation, Fall Creek Elementary and Eagle Springs Elementary. Fall Creek is going to be joining us and her staff, and then April Maldonado, principal of Eagle Springs. 100% participation. We're thrilled. While they're finishing those up, let's recognize for middle school category, Timberwood Middle School. Mr. Kenneth Bell. They had 97% participation. Thank y'all very much. Recognize Humble High School for 96% participation. Dr. Charles Ned had a previous engagement, but Misty Morrison, their representative, is going to come up and join us. Thank you, Misty. Yep, there you go. For the category of specialty campus, we are recognizing Quest Early College High School for their 88% participation. Kimberly Mouse is going to join them up there. Thank you, Kim. pictures, we would now like to recognize our employee campaign representatives. The foundation asked each building in the district to nominate someone to assist us in promoting the campaign. These representatives obviously did an amazing job. So if you're in the room and you serve as a representative for your building or your campus, would you mind stand so we can show our appreciation to you? And one last but very important recognition. If you are a current donor through the Foundation's employee campaign, will you stand so we can recognize you? So thank you all for this year's campaign and success we had. We look forward now to awarding some really innovative and creative education ideas for the spring. Thank you. Yep. Okay, yeah, you can get them. Yep. Yep. Sit on the back row, you missed your cue. Over the past several years, Humble ISD has been proud to partner with Centerpoint Energy in the Load Management Program. This program is designed to provide reliable, curtailable energy during grid and local emergency situations occurring during summer peak demand periods through our hottest months of the summer. The goal of this program is to help control summer peak demand in the Centerpoint service territory in a cost-effective manner to reach the demand savings goal as established by legislature and the Public Utility Commission of Texas. By doing this, we reduce the risk of brownouts and blackouts in our area, which is absolutely unimaginable during the summer here. In exchange for reducing our kilowatt usage during these peak demand periods, Centerpoint Energy pays the district a set amount per kilowatt. These rebates are, in turn, cycled back into the energy management program to fund future programs that help our facilities run more efficiently and ultimately reduce our energy costs. Thus far, we have utilized our rebate funds to upgrade lighting in some of our gymnasiums, as well as installing motion sensors to prevent unnecessary usage. This year, we are receiving a check for over $55,000, and this brings our grand total to $135,337.16 for our participation during the 2012, 2014, and 2015 school years. But it's certainly not me that should be receiving the recognition tonight. Humble ISD would not be receiving a rebate this year without the combined efforts of Cairo Courtney, Ricky Jenkins, Tom Duffy, who's here in the back, Kenny Kendrick over here, and definitely Leanne Montgomery, who was actually the one who was able to pull the trigger when the call came on a Friday back in June when we were on our 4-day week work schedules. Leanne made that happen, and because of those quick actions, we got credit for that. We are looking forward to continuing our partnership with Centerpoint Energy in the summer of 2016 and years to come. Tonight, we have Cheryl Bowman here with us from Centerpoint Energy to present our check.
I like days like today when we're looking at big checks. I like money. Money helps us do a lot of things. That's awesome. All right, so that brings us to the point of acknowledging or getting comments from our board members. We'll start to my right with Ms. Morrison.
It's good to see everybody tonight. All you administrators, I'm thinking a whole lot about you since Christmas doors are going to close here pretty soon. I'm thinking about and how hard you're working. So my thoughts are with you. Okay? Thank you for being here tonight.
All right, Mr. Ingloggy. No comment, Mr. President. Okay, Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. President. Real briefly here, I'd just like to give everybody a little update. I've been busy since our last board meeting, back all the way to November the 11th, where I met with some TASB representatives and also with Cyfair ISD. And we are in the process because, as I keep telling Dr. Sconzo, we are the best large school district in Texas. And so we definitely know how to, our community knows how to have good, strong support from our business and our community. And so what we're planning on doing is having a business and education forum. And so we're going to, as we say, tell the humble story. And we're going to show them just exactly what we do here in Humble in the form of our partnership with our business and our community. And I'm looking at probably BizCom is one, and I think with Scott's still here, Scott Brady and your firm with what you guys do with hiring some of our students, interns, and working with them. And so we're going to tell this story, and it's going to be great. This is going to happen April 20th, 2016, over at the Berry Center. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens out of that. Also, Nancy, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder, but you'll touch up on it. I was, November 30th, we had a luncheon with State Representative Dan Huberty, Dr. Sconzo, our president, Mr. Sidden, Nancy Morrison, and then along with about 5 other area school districts and their superintendents. And so we were able to get the discussion started on school finance, accountability, all those good things. And I must say the lunch was fabulous. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't have some lady named Peggy Young, Jackson Young, whatever her name is. Anyway, she did a fabulous job, Peggy, and I thank you for putting that together. And then last but not least, December 3rd and 5th was in Austin. And so now we're working on these corner principles, and we're getting ready to start grassroots, which I'll pass over to our legislative chair. But it's been a last busy couple of 20-plus days here. And Mr. President, I look forward to what's going to happen here in January here as we get started. But I just wanted to let you know that, no, I didn't have good turkey. I had ham. And I'm still waiting to eat that turkey.
All right.
Back to you, sir.
All right, Mr. Lopez. All right, this way. Let's go all the way to the end, Mr. Rushing. We'll save the best for last.
Just a point of clarification, the point was made that I was part of a second place team. It's just a matter of perspective, because I'd argue I was a part of the first and second place team. And that's all I got to say.
All right. Ms. Conrad.
Yes, sir. I have a couple of things. One was I would like to thank Ms. Jan Johnson in Woodland Hills Elementary for inviting me out this week to participate in the Hour of Code. And if you all haven't done so already, I would challenge you to also code for an hour this week as well. It's very interesting to see how that fits into our curriculum and how we're actually are coding with our students already, but kind of indirectly, and how we can tie that into our curriculum. So I'll be interested to hear how other schools are participating in the Hour of Code and how we're making that part of every student's experience. My second thing was I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to our Human Resource Department and your whole rollout of the AppleTrack. Am I saying it correctly? The AppleTrack system, I think you all may have received an update about that. And so our HR department worked together with finance, worked together with technology services, and really rolled out this new system for our applicants, for our job postings, for our applicants. So it's a great first experience for a lot of people for Humble ISD. And I haven't really gone into the system myself yet, but I know when I look at the initial outside, it's much more user-friendly, it's searchable. You can search by campus, you can search by job position. So from what I hear, the implementation has just been great. And so I know that takes a lot of coordination amongst many departments, and I know your team has worked really hard, so thank you. And the last thing was similar to Mr. Cunningham, in participating with Leadership TASB. We just had our second session in Dallas, and I got to visit Frisco ISD and Lancaster ISD, learn some great things about them. Really helps me think about our district and what's unique about us. And maybe some of the, like Frisco ISD, one of their biggest issues is their growing pains, but they always keep strong to what their guiding principles are. And one of those is that they maintain a smaller school concept, but that causes maybe some other issues with having to redraw boundaries and things like that. So it made me really reflect on that and think about that a lot in some of the decisions that we're making, is what are our guiding principles. As part of that, in the next session, an upcoming session, every board member that's there has an opportunity to share a hometown news, kind of like your Humble story that you'll be telling. We'll have that opportunity to tell our story. Of course, when others are sharing their hometown news, they think their district is awesome, and I have to keep reminding you that we are the best large district in Texas. But as a request to you all, whoever's listening, I would like to share, not things that they can look on our district website and find out. I want them to know what is really unique about Humble ISD and our community. So I would welcome your input for that presentation. I'll be working with Jamie and her department. We'll be putting that together, and so we want them to really get a good feel for Humble ISD and what makes us the best large school district in Texas. So welcome your input on that. And that's all I have.
Thank God. Hey.
It was only 3 things.
How long were you going to take? I thought we were going to be here till breakfast there for a minute.
I could add a few.
All right. So I want to start by thanking my wife. For a long time, she's allowed me to do the things I do from a volunteer standpoint. She has, over the years, gotten the bug and gotten really involved. And so I just want to thank her for what she does to give back to our community and for being here today and to let you know I love you. Also, the Honorable Norman Funderburk from the City of Humble is in attendance again tonight. And, we had the privilege, Mr. Cunningham and I, of being judges, float judges for the City of Humble Christmas Parade. Several of our schools were there. Our transportation department, once again, just knocked the ball out of the ballpark with their souped up bus with all their lights and all that. So it was fantastic, and I believe the estimate was close to 20,000 people in attendance on Main Street in Humble. What a fantastic event that was. And then last but not least, I see that Mr. Kite is in the audience. He must have misunderstood. He thought we were passing out checks instead of receiving checks. But nonetheless, we're glad you're here, Mr. Kite. And with that said, I will pass it over to you, Dr. Sconzo.
Thank you, sir. No report.
No reports for Dr. Sconzo. Fantastic. Now, Mr. Rushing, do we have any motions for closed session?
Yes, sir. Mr. President, as the personnel, I move the board approve the administration's personnel recommendations as presented with addendum.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? 7-0. What about to the minutes?
As to the minutes, I move that the board approve the minutes for the regular board meeting held on November 10th, 2015.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? 7-0.
And I move that the board approve the minutes for the special board workshop held on November 19th, 2015.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? 7-0. All right. Takes us through there. Now to our committee reports. Audit Committee. Mr. Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have met with the audit committee. And the department is well into their 2015-16 audit schedule construction. Also with the conflict of interest. We'll have more to come in January. I believe we also are looking to try to schedule a meeting sometime in February. They've done numerous exit audits with the retirements that come here in December. And so everything's moving right along. That's all I have.
Okay. Let's see, Board and Superintendent Evaluation Process and Goals Committee. Ms. Conrad.
Yes, sir. We had our regular meeting following the last regular scheduled board meeting, and I believe we updated the board at the last workshop.
Okay, perfect. Building and Planning, Mr. Engelhardt.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. As you know, we met and PBK gave us a really nice presentation about the timeline for the facility assessment study. And starting in January, it takes about 6 to 8 months. They also disclosed to us or told us that they have come up with a theme of literacy for the new elementary school, working with administration. And also the committee discussed the timeline for construction, whether it makes sense to this elementary before this middle school or vice versa. We did not make any final plans with that, but that was discussed. Thank you, sir.
Okay, perfect. Education Foundation, Ms. Conrad.
Yes, sir. Our Education Foundation met, and we would like to announce, I know it seems kind of soon because we just gave out all this money, but we have more money to give out now that we have this employee campaign and other funds coming in. So the foundation would like you to know that the Innovative Education Grant process is now open, and the applications are available online at the foundation's website, humbleisdfoundation.org. And they're encouraging employees to apply. So the deadline is the last Friday of February. If they have any questions, they can contact the Community Development.
All righty. Kingwood Super Neighborhood Council, Ms. Morrison.
You have, all of you have notes in your mail packet on the agenda, so you can review them. Primarily, they went over the projects that are going on, the mobility stuff.
That would be the Legislative Committee, yes, ma'am.
And I believe Charles gave my update.
Okay, all right, perfect. Program Committee, Mr. Lopez.
The committee met on November 17th to review the progress of district committees established to address the projected growth enrollments. In the meeting, timelines for each of the committees was reviewed. All committees are on track to meet the established timelines and are scheduled to begin making recommendations in January. So we'll be hearing from those committees regarding those recommendations here at this table in January, starting in January.
All right, and Technology Committee, Ms. Conrad.
Technology Committee met last week, and we also heard from staff members from Digital Learning Department and Curriculum Instruction who provided an update on our digital learning initiative as well as our blended learning plan and our grant process that they're going through with that, and Raise Your Hand Texas. So we have submitted that final application. What else do you need to know about that? I think that's it. I did follow up from that meeting because there was one other item, and so I do need your responses on that because we can schedule that for our next meeting. I think that was it.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's move right on to our consent agenda then. Mr. Rushing, if you'll help me out here. Under governance considerations, item A, policy CDA local. Consent. Under Superintendent's Division reports, considerations and purchases, item A, district goals and revised performance measures and superintendent evaluation instrument. Consent. Under Learning Division reports, considerations and purchases, shared service arrangement for Humble Regional Day School for the Deaf. Consent. Financial Services Division reports, considerations and purchases, item A, tax refunds. Item B, budgetary amendments. Item C, HCAD Board of Directors election. All of those are consent. Human Resources reports, considerations, and purchases. Item A, new Texas teacher and principal evaluation system. Consent. Support Services Division reports, considerations, and purchases. Item A, Kingwood Middle School Orchestra, Band, and Choir HVAC Replacement Project, closeout and final payment. Consent. Item B, Tascasita High School and Fall Creek Elementary Project, closeout and final payment for temporary classroom buildings. Consent. Item C, North Belt Elementary Project, closeout and final payment for restroom renovation. Consent. District-wide reports, considerations, and purchases. Item A, goods, professional services, and non-construction services exceeding $50,000 in the aggregate or $25,000 individually. That is also consent. So can I get a motion?
Yes, as to the consent agenda, I move that the board approve the following items by consent. Under governance, item A. Under superintendent division, item A. Under learning division, item A. Under financial services division, items A, B, and C. Under human resources, item A. Under support services division, items A, B, and C. And under district-wide, item A.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? 7-0. All right, we have several reports on our agenda. Under governance considerations, the TASB update 103.
President Sitton and trustees, we provide that to you as an information item tonight. Our intent will be to come back at the January board meeting for your consideration and action between now and then. Any questions, input, suggestions trustees have, we'd be happy to receive them.
All right, under Financial Services Division, we have our financial reports.
And likewise, President Sitton, if trustees have any questions about our monthly financial report, again, we'll be happy to provide that information.
All right, under Human Resources, No Child Left Behind, highly qualified report for 15 and 16.
And under that federal law, we must annually report to you on the highly qualified status of all of our teaching staff throughout the district. At the current time, we only have 5 teachers, 1 at each of our comprehensive high schools, who are awaiting certification testing results. Pending successful testing results, we would be at 100% highly qualified staff.
All right, perfect. Let's see, under board business, we've got the 74th session of the Texas Legislature requires a course of training for all school board members. On November 19, 2010, the State Board of Education adopted amendments to its rules on continuing education for school board members. That's 19 Texas Administrative Code 61.1, requiring the information about the status of each board member's continuing education to be announced annually at the last board meeting in the calendar year. The purpose of this requirement is to prepare board members to work as a corporate body to govern and oversee the management of the district so that performance of all students will improve. Tier 1 is local district orientation to the Texas Education Code, and update to the Texas Education Code. Mr. Lopez, Mr. Rushing, and Mr. Engelage are preparing to attend training on December 9th. The other board members have completed that already, so we're well on track for that. Tier 2, 3-hour team building. We did all as a group take care of that one. And then Tier 3, at least 5 hours of continuing education credits for experienced board members. All trustees have completed this requirement. Mr. Lopez is 1 credit short and is preparing to clear that up as soon as possible. So Tier 3, at least 10 hours of continuing education credits for first-year board members. So Ms. Morrison, I believe you have pretty much doubled that number, attending leadership and summer leadership and the state convention and all that, but Ms. Morrison has completed all of her required training at this time. Having finished that, let's move to our last item, which is future board business. Do we have anything to consider in future board business? recognizing our superintendent, Dr. Guy Sconzo.
Thank you, President Sitton and trustees. If you'll indulge me, I want to read something this evening. For more than 4 decades, I have experienced the privilege of working in education, including 26 years as a superintendent of schools. Of course, the best years have been the past 15 in Humble ISD. It really has been an amazing journey. No community is more supportive of education than Humble ISD, and it is because of this shared vision and commitment to our children's future that our students succeed. And that's why it's emotionally conflicting for me to announce tonight that the time has come. I will retire approximately 1 year from now, effective December 31st, 2016. My love for our school district and the fact that I will soon be a grandparent of children attending our schools causes me to want to give you as much time as possible to conduct your search for your next superintendent. Thanks to your continued and unwavering support, my last day as your superintendent will be the day before the new superintendent reports to work. On that day and through December 31st, 2016, I will serve as a transition consultant to you as the board and to my successor. I will do anything and everything needed to assure a very smooth and seamless transition of leadership. Now, there's still much work for me to do before that transition begins. So I'm going to save all of my sincere expressions of thanks and best wishes for that time. For now, I would just like to say that serving Humble ISD has and continues to be a very cherished blessing in my life. I thank you and all of the former trustees I've worked with for giving me that chance.
Thank you, Dr. Sconzo. For the community's sake, a lot of thought, a lot of planning, a lot of conversations have gone into this. We've been working towards this day for many months, and I want to thank you, Dr. Sconzo, for giving this community what you've given us up to this point. You know, the fact that there's 3 pictures of former superintendents on that wall means a lot, and now there'll be a 4th. That's what we pride ourselves on in Humble ISD. So your shoes will be extremely hard to fill. So that's why, as speaking on behalf of the board, I appreciate the timeline that the team of 8 have established, and the fact that you're willing to give us that time to find that quality person to come in and fill your shoes. And just so you know, the board will be meeting with a couple search firms on December 17th. We hope to vote and hire a search firm in January with the intent of having a new superintendent, whatever day that may be. June, July, December. We just have to have it before December 31st.
That would be nice.
But I also appreciate the fact that you have agreed to whatever day that is to ensure a seamless transition as we move forward. We didn't get to be the best school district in the state of Texas by accident. It was through your leadership and your staff's leadership and our teachers and our students. And under our watch as a board of 7, our legacy is going to be finding your replacement, and our community is going to look towards us for that leadership. And we're going to continue to look towards you for leadership as well through this process. So with that said, this meeting is adjourned.